As when we overthink, we all have limited time. So when we spend our time on thinking and planning, and that's the only thing we do, when we can't decide what to go after and all of these things, we don't have time to take action. And we don't take the time to take action because we keep telling ourselves that we can't for some reason. We feel best when we can control things. It's smart to plan things and to want to control things to a certain extent. But the main issue is in ourselves with fulfilling our dreams. The main issue is within ourselves. And I know it's something that's been thrown around a lot. This idea is nothing new. But after over a decade of consuming all kinds of self-development, psychology content, going to therapy myself, trying to implement all of these things about motivation, actualizing yourself, everything, I fully understand what this means, that we are our own worst enemy. It's beyond basic confidence. It's beyond trying to deal with your mental health issues. It's very insidious. It's very hidden. And if you're spiritual like me, you could say that the devil is within, and it's facts. It's not like a joke. It's no woo-woo stuff, you know what I mean? It's real. The problem is that we always have an excuse. And I just want to really make everybody understand what that means, because it took me so long to understand it myself. It's not just saying, I'm going to do it later, which is obviously an issue. I am cursed with a very critical mind, and it's a good thing sometimes, but when it's about things that are more risky, let's say, like going after my dreams, when it's something that runs so deep, you know, when you want to create your own fashion brand or when you want to start YouTube or something, you're really confronted with yourself. It's so intense. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize that for example, I don't have scripts. It just comes to me, the inspiration comes and I just film. And for some people, they don't like that. They don't like the delivery. They can go somewhere else. But what also happens a lot on YouTube is that, I'm sure you noticed, YouTube used to be very different, especially if you're my age, if you're like a millennial. You know that YouTube used to be more real. And what happens now, and also what people don't say that are successful on YouTube, is that they are former theater kids, or they have been a radio host or something like that, or they interviewed people from a young age. And this is a skill that a lot of people don't have. And that's just one example. So if you want to compare yourself to these people, you're gonna feel like shit, because it's something that they developed for years, and it seems like they didn't, because their YouTube blows up after a month or whatever, like within a year. But that's the case. Like, a lot of people I watch, I realize they're actors on the side, or as I said, they were theater kids or something like that. It's not that they're not introverted. It's not that they're more confident. It's just that they're more used to it. And that's the thing with overthinking. Because when we overthink, we all have limited time. So when we spend our time on thinking and planning, and that's the only thing we do, when we can't decide what to go after and all of these things, we don't have time to take action. And we don't take the time to take action because we keep telling ourselves that we can't for some reason. We still have to figure something out. We still have to do this or that. And that's one major issue with why so many people don't go after their dreams. And die with regrets. Sorry to be so grim, but that's the truth. And my excuse is mental health, for example, or something like that. I struggle with my demons like everybody else. And some of our demons are more stubborn, let's say, than others. But we all struggle and we have to overcome these things. And for me, it's kind of, I put myself in positions where I'm forced to do something. That's the only thing that really works for me. So, for example, I want to start my fashion brand, right? That's a real thing I'm doing. If you're interested in this journey, just, look at my other videos about this. All of the ones that I recently posted. And this goes the same for just making money with whatever is authentic to you, like a hobby or something else. And it can be done. You can make money. Maybe you can't be rich from it, but you can make money. So I want to start my fashion brand, right? My main thing is money, for example. So I don't have money for whatever I need. So I started working part-time. I bought myself a sewing machine, and over time, I bought fabrics and all of these things. I make prototypes, and I see, because I'm wearing it myself, I see how people react to it. So that's already very good, right? You would say that's, yeah, cool. Wow, I'm not even there yet, right? But for me, I know how many fabrics I bought and how much I didn't finish. Like there's a thing you can't see it, but it doesn't matter. There's something on my mannequin there that I didn't finish. I just started, I didn't finish. That's a reoccurring theme. And I have fabrics that I plan to use, I plan to do something with, and I just didn't. But then, because of there's still lack of money, you still need a lot more than just like a few pieces. I found a grant, which is very privileged thing, but I have never been privileged in my entire life. And it's only after I moved to the UK where I had more opportunities. But I had to seek them out. And I had to do things in time, which is also hard for me. So I found the issue, I found the problem, and then I seek out what action I can do, instead of thinking about all of the reasons why it's hard, or all of the reasons why I can't do what I want or need to do. And I'm still struggling, but it builds up, kind of like an avalanche effect, where it builds up, or like the snowball effect. I think that's the right word, snowball effect, right? So it starts small, but it adds up. So fast forward, I had a really bad year. I almost gave up again, because I wanted to be a fashion designer since I was a teenager. I went to fashion school, but I just never got into the industry because where I'm from, it's Central Europe. You need to be in specific circles. And again, that's a barrier. That's a reason where I'm like, oh, I can't do it. And it's not impossible, but it is very hard from where I am from. So even if I was still living there, it would be hard, but I could do it over time. Like if I count all of the years that I didn't do anything, I could definitely every few months save up some money, buy some fabric and make a piece. And then if somebody's interested, for example, they could do a pre-order and then I make it. Because if you market it right, if you tell people, look, this is how people used to do it, this comes with a certain quality, this comes with a certain skill and artistry, you buy it now and you get it in 2 weeks, instead of like Amazon, trying to compete with Amazon, where people literally die to give people 1-day delivery. And this is not a joke. Like, this is really literally what happens. People had heart attacks working for Amazon. Instead of that, you actually ground yourself and go back to reality and think also about the future. Like, we can't keep going on like this. And I'm very passionate about it, as you can tell. That's the whole reason also why I'm doing what I'm doing. Then you market yourself, right? And the people who align with those values will potentially be your customers. And it can take time. It cannot be that lucrative for a while, but if we keep pushing, it will work. That's what I believe. Because anytime I do something, it does something. You know what I mean? Even when all of the years that I was just thinking about stuff and developing, that I don't want people to use this as an excuse and justification to keep doing that. But at the same time, I was learning a lot about myself. And I still wish I would have taken more action. I do still wish that. But I was not mature enough, I think, in many ways. So everything happens for a reason, but if we find ourselves kind of stuck or very unsure and too much in our heads, for example, we need to recognize these things and take action. That's the thing. We just need to take action. So at the moment, what I did is I wore my own things, and sometimes I just made something just for me. I didn't even care about selling it. And there was a lady, she noticed that. She's an acquaintance of my boss, basically. So I was working in this shop, and she saw me a few times, and then she started asking me, like, what are you wearing? You know, what is that? And I told her it's something I made myself. And then after a few times, I modeled for her last year for free. So it was like a charity thing. And doing that for her now gave me the opportunity to, this year, do it again, but wear my own clothes, the ones I designed. It's so funny because I'm so anxious and I don't like these things. I just have a very bad experience with people. So I still did it though, because again, even if you're introverted or all of these other barriers, the more you do it, the more you feel safe doing it, because you know what it is. The worst thing for us is the unknown. That's why we have to push ourselves into action, so we know what's going on. We know what we can expect. And that makes things much, much easier. Even if by taking action we feel like we failed in some way, or we made a mistake in some way, it's not really a mistake. It's not really failing, because we learned something very important and we exposed ourselves, so then we can know that it's safe. We feel less anxious by default, and we feel more sure, especially if you make a mistake or something goes wrong. You immediately know, okay, this is not good, or something went wrong. You analyze it, you know what it is, and you have a very valuable thing that you learn, and you don't repeat it. You know what I mean? And yeah, some risks are there. Like, if you don't want to take a big risk and you're like, well, if I just quit my job and I try to pursue this hobby and it doesn't give me any money, or I'm not skilled enough yet, of course that may be dumb. Like, I'm sorry to say it like that, but of course that may be a bit reckless, right? But it doesn't have to be this extreme. I think a lot of us got bombarded in the last events of the last few years, the global pandemic, you know what I mean? We got pushed a lot of content and courses telling us, well, you can make money with anything, like, or just do what I tell you to do and you pay me so I can give you all of the details and you can become rich, right? All of this nonsense. So they made it out to be like a get rich quick scheme, and that's always unrealistic. I don't really care what it is about, but that's always unrealistic. So obviously that's not something we have to do or should do, or tell ourselves, well, I'm gonna go the extreme route, gonna throw everything away, throw my life away, and get into the unknown completely blind. Some people do that and some people still are successful, but most of the times what they don't tell us is that they have a support system. So for example, maybe they have their own apartment that they're paying for, but in the end they have parents that they could go to, parents that have a house, for example, or friends where they can sleep on the couch. And not everybody has that privilege, I definitely don't. So for me, I can't live off benefits. That's not enough money because I'm a single parent as well. I have to work part-time, and this part-time work gives me the opportunity to have enough time for whatever I want to do on this side, while not having to stress too much about money. Obviously, it still needs a lot of budgeting and all of these things, but that's a doable thing. It's not something where all of these little details, it's not something where we should spend the most time on. It's something where we can have so many tools online for free. There's so much content out there. We shouldn't distract ourselves too much, because in the end, it's in here, it's our inner demons that we need to deal with, that keep telling us lies like, oh, you're not good enough, oh, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work tomorrow. And I'm making this video not only for you, but also for me, because I need to keep reminding myself. And I'm really struggling with demons. I'm telling you, I'm really, really struggling sometimes. But the one thing that keeps me resilient beyond my trauma and all of these other bad things, if the rare occasions where I do open up about my past, and it's just a part that I tell people, it's not that I tell them everything, they can't believe that I'm still here standing. And this is not to brag, but this is just to tell you that no matter what you went through, you still deserve to listen to yourself, to your heart, and go after your desires. Sometimes we need to look at our lives and just be honest and say, well, in the end, what? Like, don't listen to all of the words, even the words you tell yourself. What about the actions? The saying where it's like in love and relationships, words is something everybody can say, but what about the actions? Do they match up? And a lot of times it doesn't. And we are betraying ourselves by doing that. So you can make your dreams come true, but you're stopping yourself because you have so many reasons too. And I'm not saying these reasons are not there, but how realistic is it to think that's the only thing? Like, that's the only thing that matters, is that one day you were embarrassed because you tried something and nobody cared. It's just an example. A lot of times we have to keep doing something for a year or two while not really feeling like there's a lot of, let's say, confirmation from other people. Like, maybe we're not making the money that we feel like we should, or maybe it takes a while until we find a community to connect to, or our audience, or whatever it is. It can take some time, but what is 1 or 2 years in comparison to your whole life? Because I've lived for 31 years now, almost 32 soon. And if I had done even just a little bit, way, way earlier, if I had recorded more of what I did in the past, If I had stuck to it more and not distract myself with, I don't know, trying to play wifey. I wasn't married, but I was acting like it in a way, and I just kind of lost myself in someone else, and I didn't know who I was anymore. And then I changed so much about my life and things happened. I had to catch up with it, it just, sometimes life happens and that's fine, that's okay. But I still, now looking back, I know the main issue is taking action. And when we feel unsure about ourselves, when we fight with our demons, it seems impossible. But I would say the antidote to that is do it anyways. And don't think you have to do the most risky stuff for it to count. That's a lie. We should just do a little bit every day if we can. Sounds like crazy to me because I'm procrastinating like crazy. It seems like it's my superpower to procrastinate. But again, I know the issue now. I really understand it now. And I hope this has brought some value to you. No matter what you want to do, you can do it. I saw so much evidence of it, and I kept telling myself, well, I'm different in a bad way. I'm different, I can't do it. But that's not true. It's just, I'm not doing it. That's the real thing. It's not that I can't, it's not that there's so many reasons why it's not going to work. It's I'm not doing it. And that's the main thing. So, yeah, I hope this was of value. Please like the video immediately because other people have to see this. I think we should bring back authenticity, and I think people are craving it, and I'm kind of over this basic stuff, basic advice. I'm really over it, and that's not what I want to do on my channel. So if you like it, then subscribe if you care, and see you soon. Thanks for your time. Bye.